the mount is in an extreme position. Because my rig is so light, I can't properly balance it yet. I haven't figured out how to use smaller weights because the thing doesn't weigh very much, and the mount actually really likes weight for some reason. Like it likes to be loaded up. So right now it's so light it thinks it's not doing any work. So
I guess you discovered how dim M101 is, didn't you?
yes.
It's mighty dim.
Mighty dim. 50 minutes of exposure, and I can see it, but it's not, anything fantastic. Right?
Yeah, I'll be passing mine along pretty soon.
Yeah, the whirlpool, I was amazed by how bright it is because that one didn't take much at all.
Okay, yeah. But I need a new mount. I need a guided mount because when I play the images one after another with blink, the stars go like this up the screen.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Weird. Like rotation, right?
Well, it's periodic error of the screw.
Oh.
It's also I'm not, even though I've tried best doing drift align, I'm still not properly aligned.
Yeah, I found that really helps. The sharp cap polar align is a godsend.
Is it?
I mean, I can't believe how nice it is.
Oh, because some people were whining about it.
It's hard, like I found it really hard to get better than fair, but that's not sharp cap's fault. I mean, I have plenty of backlash in those controls on my mount, so I'm good with fair because I'm getting nice round stars, at least with my short focal lengths.
Yeah, there you go. Good.
Yeah, it's good. I'm not liking the weight, but I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, but it's good to be out there anyhow imaging. I've taken a whole pile of moon movies every night, and one of these days I'm going to get around to processing them and seeing how it goes.
Well, I'm hoping Friday will be clear, so we'll all catch that occultation.
So what do we use for doing AVI movies, for unstacking AVI movies of the moon?
There's a couple of free tools out there you can use, or you can just use a standard video editor. I mean, lots of different ways of doing it.
You can even use Images Plus.
Yep, you can use Images Plus.
Oh, I think try that.
I think Lightroom will take video feed as well. I've never done it, but I think it does.
But Joe, Images Plus would do the alignment then, huh? And stacking.
Yep.
Okay, I'll give that a try.
And that's free now, right, Joe?
It is.
Are you talking about playing back your subs in a video?
I'm talking about Ken. I'm talking about doing. I took a movie of the moon, as if you want to do stacking of the moon and planetary stuff, you take a movie, and then you get a program to pick the best frame out of it, and pick the best frames, and then stack them. And so you can do that.
Lucky imaging.
Yeah, you could do that with your rig.
Yeah.
I've never done it, so I'm going to give it a try.
I see for the live stacking, I think SharpCap, you can do the live stacking and save your files.
Yep.
But then you can come back and you can play your files as they were stacked in the first place. So
yeah.
SharpCap has quite an interesting feature where it's called folder monitor. So you can use whatever to capture your images, and then you can play them back through SharpCap. You can just tell it the folder and then press play, and it will cycle through them. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool. We've been very lucky for this weather.
It's been lovely. It's been lovely.
Very lucky. Yeah.
I haven't got one picture out of it.
Oh, come on, Ken.
But I refuse to get frustrated.
That's right. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I heard a very good saying this morning. Winston Churchill said that his definition of success is going from one failure to another without a decrease in enthusiasm.
Well, am I ever a successful person?
That's right. If you're still enthusiastic, you're successful.
Yeah. That's the trick, maintaining your enthusiasm.
That's right.
Chris is looking at the clock.
Oh, we're not there yet.
No, we're not there yet. It's good.
7:30.
Yeah.
So
Is there an
Randy,
photography sync tomorrow night?
I don't know.
I think so. It sounds about the right timing.
Maybe
It's at
John
the,
could
it's at
let
the end,
us know.
it's at the end of the month, right?
If it is,
Third
that's
week?
not on my calendar. I don't think so.
I think it's at the beginning of the month,
Yeah, it's the 28th,
Right. Okay. Good.
end of the month.
Cor-
Okay.
according
Yeah.
to my calendar. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I thought it was the third Thursday, but
Yeah.
So Randy, I'm getting into the moon these days.
Well, excellent. You're not in Arizona.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. But still, it's interesting to look at. I've been taking a movie every night, and I'm gonna compile it for every night, and keep on going. I think John did the same thing a little while ago.
Oh, it's such a good thing. Yeah, that picture, John, you did of like 7 days in a row really captured it in a lovely way.
Yep.
And then there's the thing that Nathan did where you slice it up. So you kind of have the Terminator moving across.
That's a bit intense. That is, boy. Let me tell you, that must be a lot of work.
Gary, I've never seen you not do a lot of work for your pictures.
Oh yeah, but I'm getting tired of it.
What is your background, Gary?
I'm an engineer, but a lazy
No,
one.
no. That I know. No, your blue thing behind you.
Oh, the background. Oh, that thing. Oops, I've got the wrong background. This is my generic background. This is my generic background that I have for people that aren't of any particular persuasion. And I'll put on my sky background for you guys. There you go. Here's my Orion Nebula with wrong colors. It's supposed to be pink, not red. In fact, I'm going to get rid of it.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
it's all art.
I think I've seen the Orion Nebula in every imaginable shade.
Well, this is the new shade, blood red. Like, no, it's not that color. Oh well.
Sure it
You
is
can
if you
make-
want it to be.
You can make it any color you want.
I know. I'm just feeling a little embarrassed about it. That's all. I'll go back to this one.
Are both of those your own pictures?
Oh yeah, they're mine. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a nice one. This is M81. It's a gorgeous galaxy, isn't it? It's just delightful. You kind of wonder if anything's going on way over there, don't you? Seeing all these stars and dust lanes and stuff. Is there something there? It can't just be rocks and dust.
Rocks and dust are good.
I guess so.
Given its distance, it's more likely something was going on there.
Anyhow,
Yes, and it may not be there quite like that anymore. Is that what you think?
you're right.
We'll just give it another moment or two. So get a few more people showing up, hopefully, right on time. But
Is this a
good
welcome?
evening, everyone,
Evening, Chris.
and keep chatting.
So is this a welcome to our club for Brendan Roy?
Yeah, he must like us. He's come back again. Well,
He's hanging out.
You didn't do a very good job at scaring me off the first time, so we're going for round two now.
Good.
I think Bill is outside, so that's good.
Chris, do you know this book?
Is in Gaynor, right? You're asking
Chris Gaynor, yes.
And you're muted, Chris Gaynor.
So I see you went and got the folio edition, eh?
Well, a very, very nice friend got me the folio edition.
Very, very nice. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, no,
beautiful.
Andy, the author, is a friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. So I don't have the folio edition. I mean, I've got, I got the original one as soon as it came out, and then there was kind of a 2-volume Time Life thing that came out, I don't know, 15 years ago. I don't know when it was. I've got that one. And as much as I like it, I'm not sure whether I really need to spend the money on that one. But it's a beaut, and it's
Better to have rich friends.
that's right, and it's a great book. Have you ever read it?
Oh, I just got it. I just got it, and
Yeah. Well, I just wondered, if you'd read read it when it originally came out, but it's quite good. I reread it recently, and it's really the best book. Sort of the astronauts. The astronauts' view of the flights to the moon. There's sort of there's some other good books on Apollo, but from that viewpoint, from the astronauts, that's the one to get.
No, it sounds like you did a great job interviewing them. I've only been reading the Apollo 11 landing so far.
Oh, in that book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course there's all sorts of great stuff online now. Some really nice versions of the the PDI burn, down to the surface. And then of course there's also the television series that was done based on that book.
Oh.
Yes. And
Same name?
yeah,
Man on the Moon.
Yeah, where's my copy? I've got it around here somewhere. And now what they did is they did a show for every flight. Tom Hanks was the executive producer, and it's not like sort of really faithful to the book, because they do different things, like, for example, the Apollo 16 show concentrates on the astronauts' relationships with their spouses and things like that. And the Apollo 13 show is actually talks a lot about the media, but it's a great series. It was on HBO, I don't know, about 15 or so years ago, and it's well worth watching.
Good.
There's also some very good shows on Nova about that too, especially one of the early Apollo ones where they actually fired up the computers.
Yeah, well, and they did a really, PBS did for the 50th anniversary did, I think it was American Experience that did that, but they did a really great job on kind of 2 or 3 shows about the path to the moon. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. It was really good.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're ever looking for stuff like that, I probably have it.
You've got everything, Chris.
Well, at least for that sort of crap.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome everyone. I think we can get started. A few more people have arrived, so welcome to the April 19th Victoria Center Astro Cafe. We have a few people who have asked to present this evening, and so we will also have, we should have some time for some other or some more generic conversation about things of interest, as we had just there with Randy's new books. And maybe we'll even hear more about those, Randy, in a future Astro Cafe. Anyways, the first person who had offered something this evening is John. So I don't know if you're ready, John.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, and John had circulated an image, or a couple of images, I think, with a challenge. Take it away.
Okay, I'll share the screen. Okay, you should see Leo, the land constellation, galaxy hunting with just a camera, no telescope.
Yeah, we've got that. That's
So
great. So it's all working.
good. So this is probably a little bit crazy. I mean, I've had wonderful opportunities to use lots of big telescopes and take lots of pictures of galaxies through telescopes. But it's always kind of fascinated me that you can actually see galaxies if you have a fairly sharp lens. You can get galaxies in cameras with a sort of a normal focal length. That'd be like 50 millimeters on a full frame camera, or about 35 millimeters on a crop frame. And so that's what I'm going to talk about for the next couple of minutes. It won't take too long. So this is the picture that's up on Zenfolio. You've probably all seen it. If you go out on a really dark night and look up and just wait for a while, you might see these lines that'll help you find stuff, but I never find them when I'm out there. So I put them on afterwards. But just so that you know, this image was taken with, it's got about 88 minutes total exposure, 20 minutes of which were done with a filter that it just puts a little bit of glow on the brighter stars and makes it look a little bit more like what you see on a dark night with your eyes.
What is the filter?
Otherwise, the stars look kind of small.
What does
Go
this
ahead,
filter
Randy.
do?
Sorry?
What does the filter do? Like, what sort of
Okay.
filter is it physically?
It's just, it's a little filter that you put in front of the lens,
I couldn't tell you. I'm busy on
Kochen
it.
filter. And what it does, without it, you wouldn't see the glow around these bright stars. So what I do is I usually blend a little bit of the images taken with the filter with the ones taken without. The neat thing about the filter is that it doesn't really affect the sharpness of the star image. It just makes a bit of a glow around them. So it's kind of neat. It's purely a matter of choice whether you want to be bothered with that or not. So, oh yeah, before I do that, I just want to show, most people, I think, when they looked at this, realized it wasn't too hard to see down here the Leo triplet. You can actually see it in the unenlarged image. But if you want to see it a little bit better, if you enlarge it like this, you can see the three galaxies here, M6566 and NGC 3628, which is sometimes called the hamburger galaxy. It looks a bit like a hamburger in a more enlarged image. Doesn't in this one. And then there's another little galaxy over here, fairly small, but you can see that it's not a star. It's got some shape and it's kind of fuzzy. And that's NGC 3593. So there's three galaxies right in that first region there. And Randy wanted to know how you find the rest of them. Well, you kind of have to know where they are. So, I mean, you could just enlarge the image and just spend hours going through it and finding it. This would be like, you know, doing it before people knew where these things were. It would be kind of a neat exercise, actually. But if you get out your atlas and look, you'll find that in this region right here, there's something called the Leo 1 group. And there's quite a few galaxies in it. The main ones are M95, 96, and 105. But then there's some others, 3384, 3412, 3377, and 3338. There's also another one right here is 3378. I didn't mark it, but it's,
Hey, how's it going?
if you look at it carefully, it doesn't look like a star.
Just started.
So, And if you've got really sharp eyes and you blow it up enough, you can see even more. So there's quite a few galaxies that can be seen in this kind of an image. And it's interesting, all of these galaxies that I've showed you so far are somewhere between 30 and 35 million light years away. So to me, it's kind of neat that you can see those just with a camera and normal lens. The next thing that I want to show you, a little harder to see, but if you look at this star and blow up this region around here, and I'm not sure the right way to pronounce this, but Algeba is good enough, I guess. Then when you blow that up, you'll actually notice there's a couple of tiny little things that don't look quite like stars here. And that's NGC 32, 26, and 27. And up here, there's a beautiful double star that shows up quite nicely in this. And then what I was really after when I was taking this picture, I was wanting to see if I could see a galaxy that's up near the head of Leo. This is Leo's head and his tail over here and his feet. And right in here, that little thing is a nice galaxy. It's called NGC 2903, and it's a barred spiral. If you photograph it through a small refractor telescope, it looks like this. You can see the bar quite clearly on it. And if you photograph it through Gary Sedun's beautiful 20-inch, you can get even much more detail, and it's quite a pretty galaxy. So that's the one I was really set out to see that night. I wasn't expecting to get quite so many other ones. Anyway, that's sort of what I found in it, but there's more thanks to Jim Nemec, who pointed out that the asteroid Vesta was in Leo at the time of the photograph, and he challenged us to see if we could find it. Well, Bill Weir did it almost instantly. I found it shortly after Bill did in my picture. And I just want to show you, it's kind of interesting. It's right here in this picture. And here's a blow up. And that little dot there is the asteroid Vesta. Now, I took half of these pictures I took on the 11th of April and the other half on the 13th. So I separated the two sets and just processed them separately. And if you watch this, this is the 11th, this is the 13th. Whoops, I went too far. 11, 13, and you can see the little dot of Vesta moving between those two.
I have a question for Bill Weir. I'm having a hard time believing you could see that. You're amazing.
See when? Pick it out?
Yes. How did you pick it out, for Pete's sakes?
It's in Stellarium.
Oh.
But then the next night I went with my binoculars and it was really easy to tell where it was.
Is that right?
It's pretty bright. It's like 6.5 or something like that.
Oh, it is.
So yeah, see the stars that are around it.
Yeah.
It clearly shows up by the two brighter ones, the one there and then the one above it.
Oh,
So
sort of in between in brightness, it's in between those two, really.
yeah. And back about a month ago, it was actually naked eye from out here.
Wow.
It was 6.1. So if you knew exactly where to look, you could tell which one it was, because the only stars that were next to it were too dim to see. But then when you put binoculars up, and just 10 by 50s, could easily see it.
How far does it move in a month, Bill?
It was down, I'm trying to think of where it was, by the back legs of Leo. I'm trying to remember when it was. I posted a shot that I took of the little log that I did as part of orbital motion in doing the Explore the Universe. So I tracked Vesta over about 5 nights, drawing little bits. But I drew a picture of what it looked like naked eye when it was like the whole tiny little constellation of Leo with a dot in it. But it was around a pattern. It was around a pattern of stars then too. So it was really easy to see it move against them.
You're amazing.
So there's quite a lot of stuff in one camera image, as you can see.
Can you?
So that's the end, unless you want to get bored and go to Netflix, where you might find this.
John?
Yeah.
Up in the neck of Leo,
yeah,
there's a little group of galaxies called Hickson 44. Halfway between, oh, go back.
This is in the head region or the neck in here?
In the neck. So it's not in any of your images.
So it would have
because
been...
it's so what is it? Adfera?
Yeah.
And
Adhafara, I think.
Yeah. So halfway between that and Algeba, there's a little grouping of stars.
Yeah.
Very close to there. They're
Okay,
actually quite. They're actually quite bright.
I'll pull it up.
You can get 3 of them with a 6-inch telescope. So it's. It's a group of 4 of one of the Hickson groups.
I think I've seen
So
those, Bill.
it's right in here then. Oh,
yeah.
I can see them.
There, yeah.
I missed that right here. Let me just.
It's a line of. There's a line of them. 3 of them are in a line.
Yeah, I saw those several years at Blackfoot in Edmonton through my 10-inch. I also that 3226, 3227, I saw those as well. And their magnitude is like 13.1, 13.2. So they're pretty faint.
Well, that's interesting. I missed those. I didn't see them.
Actually, before you go, can you pull up Regulus? Zoom in on Regulus.
3190 and 3193 are the designations of those, I guess.
Yeah. There's 4 of them. One's quite faint. It's a pretty little group to put a big scope on.
Well, when guys like you, Bill, look at pictures like this, you can probably pick out 10 times as much stuff as I can pick out.
I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it to look nice on my little iPad. Because there's a whole bunch in the tail. I know that would show if you looked around.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Would you mind zooming in on Regulus? There might be one more that you kind of missed that's a little closer to home.
Is he wanting Leo 1?
And it's there. See right above Regulus? If you move your cursor just to the north of it.
Right there?
Right there. That's the dwarf galaxy.
Oh, it would have, yeah, it would be easier to see without the glow I put on it.
Yeah, you can see. Oh, it's quite clear. Yeah.
I can take that off, but that's interesting.
But yeah, that one's a little closer to home. But yeah, you've definitely got a lot in this picture.
No kidding. Okay, so I'll stop the share. That's what I wanted to show you anyway.
John, is your optics, are they astronomical quality or are they just kit sort of lenses?
The lens is a very high quality lens. It allows me to shoot at f2.8 and still get these sharp stars. It's called a Sigma 50 millimeter A series lens. It's a relatively expensive lens, but I think you'd be able to do most of what I showed you tonight with any normal camera lens. You're better off if you don't have a zoom lens, if you just have a regular lens, but even with a zoom lens, if it's a decent one, you could probably see it okay.
And you said you did that from Cattle Point.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to get this from here. I've tried taking pictures of things up high where Leo is nice, nice and high up in the sky out of the light pollution, but there's still such a glow here that I wouldn't be able to do it.
John, you should send that on to the gentleman that's doing the work for Dark Skies with the Cattle Point.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't
And-
remember his name right now, but I could give you the name and
The
if you
fellow
might
at
wanna
National.
put
Yeah,
that in.
I have his.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I can't remember it offhand, but I got it in my email. So
And you should choose another constellation another week.
Is that Rick from the Saskatoon Center?
Oh, no, it was Nick. Wasn't it Nick?
that's right. That's who it is.
Nick. He was doing some work on all the different dark sky sites across Canada.
Do you talk to him regularly, Brendan?
No, I don't, unfortunately.
I can send it to him.
Amazing what you found in that one photograph. It's a lot up there. Thank you for sharing that. Randy, you wanted to
Absolutely.
talk about your favorite topic.
What could that be? So I first of all hope that everybody who wants to look up at the sky has been enjoying this last week. My goodness, it's been just super. Anyway, Friday night, I was looking for a crater named after this fellow, Daguerre, who you may be aware was one of the pioneers of photography.
Yep.
And his method, which it was in the 1840s that he developed it, and it for 20 years was the main most popular photographic style, and people went crazy taking portraits. But it's very strange because what you do is you put the photosensitive material on a very polished plate of silver, and then you got to hold it just right to see the image. Otherwise, you get kind of this funny ghost. It only works when the light hits it just at the right angle. This is some pictures from what's that wonderful museum in Calgary?
Glenbow.
Yeah, and not only if you hold it in the wrong angle does it look like a bit like a ghost, but also if you don't have a good background behind you, you just reflect what's behind you. You have to have a kind of a dark background, and then you hit the light, and then very, very high resolution image and perfectly fixed. Like these 150-year-old portraits have not degraded, and it's quite remarkable. And of course, our pioneering astronomers immediately, when they had the chance, then started using it on telescopes. So Fizeau and Foucault, Fizeau's famous for measuring the speed of light, and Foucault with his pendulum. They worked at the Paris Observatory and took the first picture of the sun with the sunspots. And I don't know much about the story of this, but this was the first image of a corona during an eclipse. And of course, my topic, there are lots of pictures of the moon were taken. And so that's my segue to talking about Friday night. And I just want everybody to be quite aware of this wonderful site from NASA, which called Dial-A-Moon. And you can just find a picture of the moon annotated, very high resolution, predicted for every hour of the year. So it comes out in December each year. And you just have to know what time you're going to be taking your telescope out and add 7 hours for universal time. And then this wonderful picture pops up with lots of information. And I saw that I had a chance of seeing crater Daguerre. And it's that's a blow up of this. There's the Mare Nectaris, the Sea of Nectar. Oh, and I get the upside down version because I use the Newtonian. So this is south up. Anyway, this is a blow up of it, and it's a ghost crater. Okay, there was a crater there before the basin, the Mare Nectaris basin, got flooded with basalt, and so it's very elusive. And in my sketches to date, it should be somewhere around here, but I didn't see it. This was with the light from the other side. This was a picture sketch I did at 4 in the morning a couple of Decembers ago. Here's another picture, and you might think that those things are it, but I'm pretty sure those are not it when I look at what the photos. It should be more around here. Now, on this particular day, I saw lots of wrinkles in the Mare Nectaris, and I see that I wrote in Daguerre, but I think that was just wishful thinking. It's very, very elusive. Anyway, this was my picture. Yeah.
Randy, just to let you know, I have a photograph from that same night.
Ah,
so we can look at it afterwards and see if you can find it.
I will be comparing it to Mike's picture.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay. So this was my picture Friday night. And, you know, I knew that Daguerre was there. This was it was a preconditioned drawing, but it was very, very clear. And I mean, I'm hoping that Reg will be able to explain why it wasn't just clear. The seeing was really, really shockingly clear, that nothing was bouncing around that night or on Saturday night. Anyway, that's the blow up of it. And, you know, when you sketch, you kind of pull out the features that you want to. So it was still very subtle, but very, very clearly there, and quite fun to see it. That is Mike Nash's picture. And you see almost at the same scale, I blew it up and there it is. But I had to really push the envelope with it. Like up here, I had to kind of overexpose it so that we could see this. In his normal picture, you know, the way he presents it, that's all it is right there. Anyway, I'm delighted with it that they named the crater, which you can only see when the light hits it just right. It's named after the same person who gave us daguerreotypes, which can only be seen with the light in the right place. And I think that's so clever. I have not seen that written anywhere. I think I should write a little article for, I don't know for whom, about the how apt the name is for that crater. There you go.
Yep.
So Randy, I have a question about Mike Nash. Like, his views are stunningly clear. How does he do it?
Aren't they fantastic? And he feels so dissatisfied. He keeps saying, oh, I could do this a bit better. I could do that. He's not here tonight, eh? He's got a, I don't know, a 7-year-old or something. This is bedtime. So he's usually reading a book right now to his kid.
But really nicely done.
Oh, yeah. So he has 2 different telescopes that he's using. He is optimizing everything for lunar images. And he and I, every morning after a nice night, we're on with each other because he's so happy and proud about his images. He's totally devoted to it.
Wow, they're pretty impressive.
And what I like is it's totally a learning process for him because he knows that he can do better, even though they're wonderful, wonderful images. I want to point out, though, that the eye is amazing. Your eye has so much more dynamic range than the camera does. And so if you just look at his picture without, a careful eye or with manipulating it to pull out the feature that you like, it's either too dark or too light. The eye is just better for some things, We don't get many photons in there, but the photons that we get in there, we treat really, really well.
John, did you want to show us your image from the same night if it's available?
No, I just had a look at it. I can't see that crater in mine.
Perfect. Bring it
I
up.
would probably have to process the hell out of it.
No. This proves my point.
Your point is a good one, Randy. It is true that the eye has an amazing dynamic range.
And ability to see patterns. That's another thing that it's very hard to do. They do these censuses of the craters, and there's all sorts of things that computers pick up that aren't craters, and they miss a whole bunch. So there really is no definitive list. But John, I would love to see your photo just to show that crater is difficult to see.
I'll just share the screen. It's not a great picture. The scene wasn't good in it. I didn't use a video. It's just a single image. So this is it. Can you see that?
It hasn't appeared yet.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to push the share button there.
And
so where are we, about here or?
No, I think that looks like it might be Thursday night. Can you blow it up?
Oh, maybe it was Thursday night.
Yeah, well, you're not going to see it.
We're not far enough.
Yeah, we're not far enough over.
That's a nice picture, though, of the famous 4, just below your pointer.
Yeah.
You have
those 4 there.
Hellenus, something.
Yes, that one.
Davius, Fernarius.
Yeah.
That's very nice of those 4.
It's not. This one is not the greatest resolution.
Still nice though.
But you certainly are not going to see Daguerre when it's the wrong day.
Yeah.
Okay, so it had to be Friday night. About what time?
Oh, anytime. But our pictures were at 9 o'clock.
Okay. I'll just.
Oh, you also have a picture then.
I don't think I took pictures. That was the 16th or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was, just a minute. I think that was from the 16th. Yep.
Oh, UTM?
But it was, yeah, it was about the same time.
No.
Think I got it mixed up. That's what the camera recorded anyway.
But are you doing UT?
Doing?
Universal time.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
So it was Thursday night.
Of course, okay. So that's what it is. It's 3:59 in the morning Universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was Thursday.
So wrong day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep my cameras on Universal time because stupid time change messes you up all the time if you don't.
Very good. Okay, thank you for that, Randy. And Reg, do you have something to tell us about this glorious weather we've been having?
Hello, good people. Interesting night so far. I hope I don't let you down. I would like to share the screen if possible.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Here I always get mystified. Randy sent me a note saying that he wanted me to discuss something about the weather because it had been favorable. So I'm just going to go up here and show you some of the screens that I use to try and understand what's going on with the atmosphere. And pretty much every day I open up about 15 different.
Reg, I think it may have been locked onto that browser screen because it didn't change. I don't know if you're seeing anything different.
Oh, I'm seeing something totally different. So
yeah, so I'm still on that one that says Zoom.
Yeah, what I'll do is stop share and I'll try and go back. Thanks for
share
that.
the whole thing. Share the screen, if you don't mind.
It's weird how it will allow me to get away with certain things, but not everything. Can you see something different now?
Yes, we can see the weather one now, the loop.
Okay, so the first image that I've got here is just their standard loop off of the Pacific coast here, Vancouver Island here. And the reason we look at things in a big scale like this is that weather systems are very large. A typical weather system might be the size or the area of the prairie provinces, and they can move great distances in a short period of time. And if you were had to study any atmosphere in the solar system, the atmosphere of the Earth is by far the most interesting and most dynamic as far as I'm concerned. It's just wonderful in that regard. But what I want to show you here is you can see kind of a cloud pattern here. You can see kind of a rotation center here. This is an indication of a low pressure system, and another one down here. And the flow seems to be going up like this, and we have another plunging area of cold air coming down here. This particular satellite image is enhanced that the red is really high cloud tops. And in particular, that's useful for looking at the tops of thunderstorms and this sort of thing to give an alert if we've got some severe weather associated with thunderstorms. That's why we use that in particular. So one other thing I'm going to talk to you about, though, is you can see this area here is really nice and clear. And if I go to a University of Washington site, they have all sorts of nice imagery there. And I like it because it's kind of geared up for our area. So here we have a sunset over our area. Victoria is right here. This is the GOES satellite imagery. Image is taken every 5 minutes, and this has not been available for more than about half a year. And at that time frame, normally we've been looking at images maybe every half an hour or something like that. At this different interval or frequency, it shows a little bit more dynamic things that are going on. So I just love to look at that. But that's not what I look at today for that one. I'm going to go to amongst the many different images they have here is they have a thing called the models as well. And I'm going to go to the what's called the North Pole view. And what we have here is a totally different thing. Instead of having a GOES vantage point and the GOES is hovering over the equator, we have the North Pole is up here, and Vancouver Island is this little tiny thing here. And what these are contours of the what we call the 500 millibar layer. That's really important because what the at 500 millibars, we're at the midpoint of the atmosphere. Half the mass of the atmosphere is below us, and half of the atmosphere is above us. And if we look at just a surface chart showing the surface pressure, it is basically showing us the motion that takes place at the bottom of an ocean of air. But the real dynamics are determined in the middle of the atmosphere. So most meteorologists are spending a lot of time looking up there. And what we normally see in this thing is a circle where everything would be kind of uniform going around the pole. And we would call that a zonal flow where we would have a strong band of westerly winds that would be driving weather systems off the Pacific onto our coast. In this situation, we call this a kind of a more of a meridional flow. And what we've got here is we have we're looking at a whole pile of images every 12 hours, or every 6 hours, going from 7 days before and 7 days after our present day. And what that does show is that we've had some very favorable weather. And right in the area here, you can see, I'm going to just try and stop here. There. Here's an example. We have a core of cold air in this area here, and a core of cold area over Ontario. And in between, we have this thing, and we call that an omega block. Basically, it's like the giant letter omega. And this is a very stable configuration that quite often happens in the summertime when we have a heat wave and dry spells and stuff like that. We just so happen to have something like that here. And I'll just play it on again, and it will show that over our area, we had a fairly stable omega block situation hanging over us for a long time. But as we go out into the very end, and I'll just step into it, things are looking pretty good there. But there's a core of cold air coming in down here, and this is on Saturday the 24th. And this is changing us around. So I'm sorry to say that our good situation is over. With the low pressure area, it is an area that is quite conducive to generating uplift and formation of cloud. Whereas in the middle of a big ridge here, an upper level ridge, the flow pattern is very light and it's very stable air, and the air is sinking. And the fact that we do not have very strong winds aloft in that situation is another thing that helps the atmosphere to be more stable. If we looked at this area here that is over the NWT, we can see that these contours are very close together, and that's associated with stronger winds aloft. And in that situation, stronger winds aloft means there's vertical wind shear, and that allows the atmosphere to overturn and mix up clouds of the air of variable density, and that will cause the scintillation of the sky. And so that's basically pretty much all we need to look at, I think. I've got just tons of other stuff. I'll show you what, this is the sort of pressure maps that we look at every day. These are every 6 hours. They're also on from this site. And they can see a ridge of high pressure. Vancouver Island is right here. But towards the end of the period, this goes out to 180 hours. I'll just show you this. First of all, we've got a ridge offshore. We've got a high pressure area here and some green stuff. The green is precipitation. And this is Edmonton here. And the red dashed lines are warmer air. The blue dashed lines are colder air. And so we'll just step forward here. And we can see that On Thursday, the 22nd, it looks like colder air is coming into the Edmonton area, swooping down there. We may get a little bit of cloud here off of this system as it approaches the interior of BC, but generally what we have is an inverted trough right along the coast, and that's drawing cooler air or drier air out over the coast. So we have fairly favorable visibilities there. But if we step out a little bit longer in the pattern, we can see that another core of cold air is migrating towards us, and that's called a cold low, and that's moving into our area on Saturday. And that's the end of our beautiful period altogether. So what I'll do is that you can go on, I've got all sorts of things. I'll just go to the Victoria forecast. This is the forecast from the Environment Canada site. And they have all of these icons here. Don't look at them. They're for people who can't read English. Read down here, it says clear tonight, mainly sunny Tuesday. A few clouds Tuesday night, maybe a mix of sun and cloud. Wednesdays, but still not too bad. And Thursday, cloudy periods in here. And Friday and Saturday, we've got 60% chance of showers both those days. So that's what's happening here. So we have our temperatures in the 19, 20 degree range, and then they drop towards the weekend as that core of colder air moves into the area. But if we go, and I'm going to have to do something here to see this. I'm just going to go and change the city to Edmonton. And I'll go to the Edmonton International and get their site. And what they'll show is that they've got temperatures of about 13 and sunny today, 17 on Wednesday and Thursday, 1 degree for the high. That was that core of cold air that I showed you coming down. So things are looking kind of sad Wednesday night and on Thursday. So I just thought Dave Robinson would enjoy seeing that. So I think I'll end it there. So I don't know if that.
What about Thunder Bay?
Yeah, we have Brendan on board. You should do Thunder Bay while you're here.
Thunder Bay?
Last week, Edmonton had a little bit of a snow dump, but they had some really nice weather during the week and towards this weekend.
Yeah.
We got hammered last night by snow.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yes.
We lost power. I was out, didn't have power for about 4 hours last night with the winds that came with the snow, so it was not fun. It was a night.
As a service for mental health, I'm not going to show that image to you.
Reg, question about our wind. Whenever it's clear, we are extremely fortunate. Like I don't ever recall clear nights when it's windy here. Like it's just like for astrophotography, it's amazing because I hear people telling stories about how their telescopes were shaking in the wind and they got terrible images. And every clear night we have is pretty much still. Like
it depends on where you live.
Okay, well, Central Saanich is like, it's just uncanny. Like if it's clear, it's just zero wind.
Saanich is good. If you live out in, pardon the expression, Metchosin, you're in a very windy area. In the summertime, Metchosin is possibly the strongest winds on the south coast on a regular basis. In fact, when I did time at Environment Canada, I was approached by people who wanted to put wind farms out in that area because it's so reliable. So, I could, maybe at another time I could show you because today's setup isn't too bad, but too good. But the low-level, high-resolution models will show you the winds shooting through Juan de Fuca Strait and nailing that area and leaving beloved Saanich out. So there's some validity in your area, but I would just be thankful.
I am very thankful.
You learned the hard way about Metchosin.
Sorry?
It's funny. Sometimes I'll be on my property and then I'll leave and go out to Pearson and there'll be no wind there. So does it come down off of the land out onto the water?
No,
Reg?
it is a thermally driven thing from the interior, and it's drawing a slab of cold marine air off of the Pacific, howling through Juan de Fuca Strait. And at sometimes it doesn't penetrate all the way in, but it normally necks the area. And where I look at the winds is from race rocks, and race rocks can quite often have a 45 knot wind. And even in Oak Bay, which can get caught by these things, sometimes we will just have a 5 knot wind. So it's very wind prone out in that area.
Yeah, I just, when I notice the direction that's coming from, it's always like from off the land heading towards the water. So it's, because that's the direction it flows. And like when you can see all the trees are in that, pointed in that direction. Or if you drive through Royal Bay, where it used to be the gravel pit, it always is coming off the land, heading out onto the water.
It's coming off the land at Royal Bay because the winds have gone roaring across the Machosen Peninsula and are heading towards Victoria.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the unfortunate things with the municipal grounds in Machosen for the star parties, right? It kind of lines up with the wind tunnel, I think, through the Sud Basin, Harbor and Basin, I think.
Reg, in true to form, this coming Saturday, which is another FDAO star party that we're going to have with Tim Jaworski, it's going to rain. And so every single solitary FDAO day that we've had since September, every party has either been rainy or windy or cloudy or something like that. We have still yet to have a clear night. So could you please do something for May the 15th?
Oh, we're a tradition-bound organization.
Well, I'm just asking for May the 15th to be a decent night. That's all I'm asking for. One night out of the entire year. So, thanks.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, come on, Reg.
Thank you for that explanation, Reg. Dave, should we look at the Edmonton photos?
Yeah.
I will share the screen.
In preamble, they did have this last week a few nights of really good seeing, particularly out at Blackfoot. So this first one is from Arnold Rivera, and he called it the galaxy that Messier missed. It's in Camelopardalis, and it's good size, 19 minutes by 10 minutes in arc, magnitude 8. It's a member of the M81 group. So this is his Astrotech Richie Kretchen that he took that with his ZWO camera. Gets very nice pictures with that. The next one you're going to see, if we can get that to run, they did get some aurora last week. And this is Warren Finley's picture. All that green stuff you see is aurora. It was visible in downtown Edmonton through the clouds, apparently. Warren is famous for these pictures that have decrepit buildings in the background.
That's quite a shot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Okay, the third, this is a
hold on
series.
second, sorry, it started over again. So it's out here.
The next is a series of images from Abdur Anwar. And he has an ASI camera and an EQ6R mount and this beautiful Schmidt camera that he uses. This is the Whirlpool. Now, this particular image was taken about 4 years ago with a Fuji color camera that he had. And he used some of that data and some other data that he'd taken back that time in order to do the next photograph, which you picked that one up. That is the most recent image that he has. This took about 9 hours and 21 minutes of total data gathering. He said that for the stuff that he did most recently, the tracking on his mount was within 0.35 arc seconds, RMS. He had just incredibly steady skies and his tracking was really good. And to show you how good this image is, if you zoom in on the next image on the star that's at the bottom of this one, you see the little arrow, and if you could zoom in on that image, you would see all those little faint spots down there. That's a galaxy cluster that's 2.3 billion light years away. Pretty amazing. Now, if you go to the next one, this is even more impressive. And I don't know if you can zoom in on that image for us.
Oh, no, it just
okay.
switched back. Hold on a second.
Well, when I have this image and look right at the end of that arrow is this little faint fuzzy spot.
Too much for it.
Yeah, and that is a quasar that is a long, long way away. It's magnitude 20.1, and it's 11 billion light years away. That you can pick that up with amateur equipment is just absolutely outstanding. And here is the next picture is the final image, and that's the zoomed in image on M51 that he has put together with all the data that he collected. One of the guys in Edmonton posted, Abdur, NASA called. They want their pictures back. He's just really progressed as a photographer. He's got some absolutely amazing images lately. And that's it.
Thanks for sending those along. Does anybody else have anything for this evening? That was what we had on.
I have a little correction here. I said the TV series had the same title as the book. It's slightly different. It's called From the Earth to the Moon. That's the TV series, but it's based on the Man on the Moon book.
Chris, I just have a little bit on the occultation that we're unlikely to see on Friday.
Right, yeah,
but I'll talk about it anyways. Is it okay to go ahead, Chris?
Please do.
So the forecast doesn't look great, but I thought I would just take us through what this occultation could be like. I'm not going to give up hope yet. I mean, it's possible we may see it through the clouds. It's hard to say. A lot of the stuff that I've done with occultations is purely just been to see it. There's certainly wonderful things to see. You can see it with just your naked eye, or with, I would suggest just binoculars. There's a really good site. If we miss this one, there's lots to follow. So there's the International Occultation Timing Association, IOTA, and you can actually see predictions on their site. So there's the website. So often you'll see these things called bright star predictions, and the one we're looking at is this one here on April 24th of New Virginis. And I think it's going to be like 6:14 UT. So that makes it the Friday night at just past 11. Here's the area of visibility. It's not visible everywhere, but we're quite fortunate to be inside of this band. So we definitely should be able to see it if the weather cooperates. So why do we bother with occultations? Well, there are a couple of things. This one is not a grazing occultation, but for future reference, grazing occultations are probably the most interesting. And they sort of give us an idea of the profile of the lunar surface with the star blinking in and out. Also, occultations have been used to detect the presence of binary systems. If you see a star go in and there's a bit of a reburst of light, sometimes it's because of the existence of a binary system. And in the past, we've often used these to measure the angular dimensions of stars. So in the past, we would have used the WWV time signal. I don't know how many of you remember this, but 15 or 20 years ago, when we did the occultations, we'd be using video cameras and taking a signal from a shortwave radio and then feeding it into the audio portion of the video. And then later we would sort of analyze the video and look for the disappearance and the reappearance and actually time those. Now, we do have to time those quite precisely in order to get any meaning out of them. Today, we're not using kind of video tape cameras in the traditional sense. We're not using tape. So I just saw this today. QHY, who actually makes a CCD camera with built-in GPS signals, actually has a separate module now, which is nice. The camera that they had, which had the GPS signal embedded in it, is close to $2,000. But the separate timing module that you can use with some of their other cameras, I think is only $300. So it's a little bit more reasonable. And then some amateurs are actually working on kind of Raspberry Pi type devices. An NTP server, for those of you who understand computer networks, is something that keeps timing set across a large network of computers. Stratus 1 just means that you're only one remove from the source of the time. So the idea is these Raspberry Pis have GPS modules attached to them, and they will pick up signals off of GPS and then convert that to a time signal that can be fed to the laptop or the computer. So that's basically all I really wanted to let you know. None of these concerns of timing are probably at issue here, and if the weather's not good, we're not going to see it anyways. But just for information, the next time, keep your eye open on IOTA for other occurrences, and I'll try to mention them if I catch them myself. So yeah, if there's any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them. If not, we just hope for the best.
Are you going to just do it from home?
Yeah, I don't plan to go anywhere. My house, when I walk out the front door, faces south, and that's pretty well where it is. So I may not even bring the full equatorial mount out. Might just bring one of my trackers out. Actually, I think some people in the group have done occultations before. We haven't done them for quite a while, or not that I'm aware of anyways. But they were quite popular about 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I joined you back then, but I haven't
Oh yeah,
done
that's
any
right.
since.
Actually, lunar occultations are not the only type of occultation. Joe is quite right. Joe was part of a group of us that actually measured an occultation of Varsavia, which is an asteroid. And we managed to get some nice chords that actually describe the shape of the object. Yeah, if you've never done one before, it's certainly fun to do. And the reason why I was kind of alerted to this was the last time I was out looking for the planet Uranus, I noticed that a star was kind of disappearing into the moon, and it kind of reminded me of this. And I kind of looked up IOTA, and I noticed that this one was coming up. It's quite bright. It's Mag 4.
Cool.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see it. We'll see.
But we just need a couple of clear breaks, so you never know.
Yeah.
We had a big clear break with no moons. So.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we have to pay for the good weather that we've had so far, I suppose.
That's true.
Yeah.
I got a lot of great photos over that period. So.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if the rest of the EAA group want to speak up, but we've had a pretty good time doing some live stacking imaging of various objects. I did the Whirlpool, I did 101, I did M13, kind of the usual suspects. As I was mentioning at the beginning of the session, I'm finally learning how dim or bright these objects are. So it's been a lot of fun. Brock, what were you doing? I can't remember all the objects that you caught in the spell.
Well, I did a bit of live stacking, but I also just did a lot of photos. I could share some of them, I guess.
Oh yeah, if you could.
I don't have a presentation or anything, but I could just
see what you found.
What I found. I don't know. You can see a file, bunch of Can you guys see the Leo triplet?
Nicely done.
Very good.
Beautiful.
So I got the Leo triplet just a couple nights ago. Then I got Sombrero. I think that was 2 nights ago. And Bodes, Pinwheel, M82, Cigar Galaxy, and what was another recent one? I guess M51 was, that was a, yeah, there's a couple of M51 actually. But the Leo triplet was really neat. That came in really well. I changed cameras for that one. Some of my other shots are a bit, I have a modified Canon, and because it's missing, I've also got a CLS CCD filter, and it kind of notches out all the yellow, and so kind of get these weird pink bits that don't really make any sense. Whereas with my non-modified camera for the Galaxies actually looks better, other than I don't get the red stuff from any sort of nebula. But the overall color just looks, this is with just a regular Canon T7i, and I think the color's better.
The hamburger galaxy, is this the one on the left?
Yes.
It does look like a hamburger in your picture.
This is very nice, this one. Good shot.
Yeah, it worked out okay.
Some good
Some of the
detail
tracking,
in the galaxies.
yeah. I had some weird stuff with, when I did Sombrero. Sombrero was very low in the southern sky, and I was getting really poor tracking in right ascension. And that's got kind of football shaped right ascension directed sort of stars for some reason. Whereas the stuff I did closer to vertical was just crazy crisp. Like the Leo triplet was a little higher up in the sky, and it was pretty good. But
Brock, do you think it's just the orientation of the mount?
I don't know. It could well be. Yeah, I haven't really gotten to the bottom of why that is. But.
What side of the
Side of the meridian?
Yeah.
Both actually.
Because I just remember
mostly on the west.
Because I remember talking to Jack Newton once about the big scope out at Pearson, and he said it always tracked better when it was pushing as opposed to pulling.
Right.
Depending
Yeah,
on
the adage, Bill, is to load on the east, which is typically what I do. I just make it heavier on the east side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that it isn't all of a sudden dropping.
Yeah.
I think that's what the concept was.
But I was doing meridian flips while I was fast asleep, so I kind of had to, I was just trying to mid-range balance because I wanted both sides to work.
Yeah.
Which mount do you have, Brock?
I have a CGEM 2 Celestron.
Yeah, I've just been kind of learning my mount. I've never had a go-to before. As I mentioned, I'll show you some of the initial stuff I have. They're quite noisy because I don't have enough time on them, but I'll show you some of them. That's the definitely not enough time on this guy. This is the pinwheel, but I was quite amused by seeing, I can't remember which galaxy this one is, that galaxy, and this very odd shaped dwarf galaxy down here. Actually, I think Sid mentioned it. What is that funny little thing? Is that an optical defect? But that's actually a dwarf galaxy. So definitely needs a lot more time. I didn't realize how much time this would need. So I definitely need to kind of work on this guy. But yeah, I'm just intrigued by what the sensors will get you, even on a light depiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My N101 looks just like yours, David. Yeah.
I'm going to give you one to search for, Brock. 4762. It's up in
NGC?
Virgo. Yeah. The other night, I can't even remember why I looked at it. I remember seeing it written on my piece of paper, so I looked at it. And it's a nice edge on, goes to very fine tips, really bright center, and then it flares out at the ends of both tips.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was looking for descriptions of it, and I remember reading one, I think it was Steve Gottlieb, and he wrote it. It was like looking at like a fire hose shooting out water, the way it fans out. And that was like a perfect, I couldn't believe I drew this little bad sketch. And then when I looked at images, that's what I found. Like I didn't know if I was seeing it or not. And then it's exactly what it showed. It would look very cool. Because it goes right down to a stellar nucleus with a bright core, a little round bright core and a stellar nucleus and a beautiful points. And then these flares out the end, like feathery bits.
Yeah, Bill, I've actually been quite astounded by the number of galaxies that don't kind of look like traditional galaxies. Like some of them look squished. Some of them even look like kind of optical defects.
47 what?
62, I think.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
What's Chris showing us? Oh,
Mike's showing us 4762.
okay.
Yeah, see how it's like these faint little flare-outs.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's cool.
It wasn't small either.
I'll take that picture.
My imaging nebulous, or my imaging nemesis is our local greenhouses, though. I got Eurosa Gardens turn on their HPSs at about midnight. And then as the telescope slews around towards, like it starts out on some of the targets near the Big Dipper and it sort of rotates down into the northern horizon and gets further and further into the washed out orange.
Yeah, why
glow
aren't
of
they
the
legislated to have to cover those?
I don't know.
That was one of the wins I got out here in Machosen. Is that
Really?
for greenhouses, they had to shield them.
I'll have to do some lobbying. Because we'd have beautiful dark skies. When those things are off, it's amazing here. And then when they come on, it's like,
yeah. Are they white or are they pink?
It's kind of an orangey color.
Yeah, in Ontario, they were using like the red lights so that it's kind of this pink, weird pink glow that goes on.
I'll share my misery here. I don't know if you guys can
I
see
know
this.
what they look like.
Can you see all of these subs?
Yeah.
They start out and then right around, what time is this one? This is probably about midnight, right about here. And then they just get oranger and oranger as the night goes on. And details get more washed out.
Lovely. What a cool color. Wow.
Drag your crap out to Pearson sometime.
Speaking of light pollution, I have a photograph of the aurora the other night. I'll share.
You took it?
It's not, yeah, not terribly good, but
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
John and I were out at Cattle Point on the 17th, Saturday, I guess, and just in the parking lot. But you can definitely see the aurora along the northern horizon from the parking lot. That was the second night. First night was when everyone got some pretty spectacular photos, but I wasn't out that night.
So it looks like some great astronomy has been done. Does anybody else have anything to share this evening?
I do.
Please.
Yes.
Ah, it arrived.
It arrived.
Congratulations.
Upon the completion of the Introduction to Amateur Astronomy lecture series, and by the authority of the Board of Trustees, the Kalamazoo Astronomical Society has conferred upon moi the degree of Amateur Astronomer, with all the rights and honors pertaining thereto.
Official.
And it's not only signed by the president, Richard Bell, and by the vice president, it's their real signature. 900 people took this course, and 219 of us appeared at every lecture. That's worth the certificate.
Wow.
Well done.
You're certified.
Certified.
So, Chris, I just wanted to bring our forays into the moon a little bit
Please.
that
Please
we both have here. Chris and I have been working on the Moon at Noon program that the RASC has done. I think I mentioned it last week or a couple of weeks ago. Every Thursday morning, Jenna and John Reed are doing a program. It's 9 o'clock our time, noon Eastern time. It's only half an hour, and they go through each one of the Q-5, Q-4, Q-3, kind of show what's going on, tell you what to do. And the last one that they did was a little bit on sketching, and so in this last little fit of lovely weather, I hauled my telescope back out onto the deck and cursed all the light that was down below me, but did get some stuff. And boy, Randy Enkin, I am just so amazed at what you do, because my sketches are the worst that anybody has ever seen. I cannot believe that people can get such gorgeous sketches when I'm sitting there trying to nudge my telescope every minute or every 30 seconds, because I have this big 8-inch with no go-to, so it's all just, I'm just nudging it all the time, and then trying to write down something, and then trying to see in the dark, and it's crazy. And Chris emailed me and said, "How are you doing?" And I kind of was crying in my soup. Yes, but I can see how the only good thing is that that it'll come back again. Like, so I'm not going to, if I didn't get everything in Q-2 day that I needed to do, then I know that I've got another 12 or 13 times in a year that I can at least try to go back to it and try it again. So
Twice a month.
Bill,
you have to wake up in the middle of the night for the other one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Bill Weir, I need to say that when you get my little portfolio with everything, you have to be really kind to me, please. Really kind.
Well,
okay.
Well, just stick your phone up to the eyepiece and just do a shot, and then sketch off of that. If it's what you were seeing, I mean, people paint like that all the time. They go out and take a photograph, and then they go home and they paint it.
Well, and luckily, Lauri, sketching is optional for this one anyway. So
I know, but I do a better job with, well, yeah, whatever it is. It's
I know what you mean by nudging. I've nudged my scope a lot.
Nudge.
Chris, are you sketching too?
Yes, but not well either. And Christine's doing it with me, and Christine's got fine arts training, so she can draw. And
as Dave Chapman will say, we're not looking for art.
Oh, you are not going to get it. That's for sure.
What did I say, Lauri? Mine are quite rustic.
Yes, rustic is a very good thing to do.
Yeah, we're not looking for art. It's
been really fun. I have learned so much in the last 5 days being out with my telescope about the moon. Like, it really is. It has been an amazing spate of days to do something like that.
Well, and what's been really neat is, doing it 5 days in a row, you really do see the changes.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's not so obvious when you look at it isolated days, but having looked to the moon and saying, well, where was that stuff we're looking at yesterday or the day before? Oh, there it is. My goodness, you can already see it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, I'm very impressed, Randy.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel much less lonely knowing that you're all doing that.
That's great. Thank you.
Whether we'll do Isabel Williamson is another question.
I always get a good view of the moon on my cell phone.
Yeah.
Did anybody get up in the middle of the night and watch Ingenuity? The helicopter fly on Mars?
No, I just got up and watched the YouTube when I got up.
Oh, it was exciting. When they finally realized that it had worked, and it was funny, the first thing that they had was a graph. It went along, it rose straight up, it went across, and it went straight down, and then went across. And it was the altimeter.
So they knew it had moved and gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not being flown live. It's being programmed and flying on its own, actually.
And it took over 4 hours for the data to all download.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, I tuned in. I saw all these tables, you know, with geeks sitting at the tables with laptops, and I thought, gee, this looks like an RASC board meeting or a national council meeting.
That's what it reminded me of too.
my favorite moment of it was the woman who was like the director of it all in the room. I can't remember her name. When she stood up at one point and she was talking, and then she held up above her head some pieces of paper and tore them to pieces. And then I found out later that was her contingency speech. That if it failed and she did not have to reveal it, it's like, this is done. It was fabulous because the people in the room knew what it was, but just watching, you didn't know why she was tearing up this paper, and it was like the failure speech. Yeah, so it was cool. Yeah. And then I went back to bed.
Sounds like a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But very exciting to see what's happening live. Yeah. Anyways, well, if that's it for this evening, thank you.
Excuse me a minute.
Sure.
Okay, I got the key for the library up at UVic. I have the list for the books, and I'm wondering if Jokey put them in for the members only, so the members can look at the list of books, and if anyone who wants to have the book can email me, then I can bring it to them, or they can pick it up in my house.
It's a good idea. Send me the data.
Okay, I will send you the data.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, Alex.
Yeah, that's a gracious offer, Alex. Thank you.
So I would say send it to my email address. I don't know about this library address. How does this work? I changed the password, but I don't know how you get into it.
Oh, well, I'll send you if you would like, I'll send you another link to reset it again, and we can try again. But basically, yeah, you need to use Gmail, I guess, the Gmail app, or on Gmail on the web.
Okay, Gmail. Okay, fine. Okay.
Via Google. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, just send them the link to the mail client online mail client. That's the easy way.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can just use any old web browser.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you're on there, go through them. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, and thank you for sorting out the keys for us, Reg, and getting them all organized. That was good.
That was through the kindness of Chuck Filtness.
Chuck, yeah. That was a bit of a saga. Yeah. Anyhow, okay. Is there anything else for this evening? So star party on Saturday night with the FDAO. And otherwise we'll be back on Monday. Are there any SIG meetings this week?
Wednesday, isn't it? Or is it this Wednesday or is it next Wednesday? I can't remember. Astrophotography one, I think, is.
Yeah, might be one this week. Well, I guess you're whoever's leading that will.
Yeah, before the end of the month, and then the beginners and
that's on the 28th.
Yeah, the beginners and the EA are the beginning of next month.
Right. So not, you've already had the April meetings for those.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you again, everyone. And
Thank you.
I guess we'll
Bye,
call it an
everybody.
evening at 9 o'clock.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Take
see you
care.
on Saturday
Bye.
night.
Bye, everyone.